When you look at my Instagram accounts now, you will see that I have about 90,000 followers on Sit with Kelly and about 40,000 followers on Business of Therapy. And so, yes, it is easy to look at me, to look at my Instagram accounts, and think or assume it must be so easy for her, right? She's so lucky to have that audience. Of course, she can charge $275 per therapy session with that following. Or, of course, she's having really big launches with that following. But I want you to know that I started with 0 followers too. I started with 0 followers just like you did from the very beginning. And I grew both Instagram accounts from 0 followers to 10,000 followers in under a year. Now, the first time that I did this with my Sit with Kelly account, it took a lot of trial and error because I had never grown an Instagram page before. So I had to do a lot of experimenting, I had to learn from a lot of mistakes, and I had to put in a lot of hard work and be really, really consistent in how often I was showing up and in how I was showing up in order to reach that 10,000 followers in the first year. The second time I did this with my Business of Therapy account, it was actually a lot easier, if I'm being honest, right? A lot of times people do these posts of, if I started over, here's what I would do. But the fact of the matter is, I actually have started over. I have built a second Instagram account from scratch. But to be honest, I think that that was still an easier experience for me than it will be for you to start an Instagram page from scratch. And there's a few reasons why, right? Number one, I had practice. So I had already actually grown an Instagram page and got good at creating content. And so I already learned not just from somebody else, but from my own mistakes. And I acquired the skills of marketing to be able to grow an Instagram page with more ease. I also had authority in this space, right? I've already helped hundreds of therapists to grow their private practice and to grow their Instagram page before creating my second Instagram page, Business of Therapy. So I already had some name recognition, I had some brand recognition, therapists knew who I was. Most therapists have a friend who's taken my programs before. So that was really helpful for me too. And then I had relationships online, right? There were other therapists that were willing to collaborate with me, other business coaches for therapists who were willing to collaborate with me, who I knew from my years of growing my Sit with Kelly page and doing this work. And so I wasn't really starting from scratch, even though it was a brand new Instagram page. So, in this episode, I'm not going to share exactly what I did to grow both my Sit with Kelly account and my Business of Therapy account, because these lessons will not apply directly to you. So, in this episode, I'm not going to share exactly what I did to grow both of these accounts, because the fact of the matter is that all of it may not apply to you. And I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. But instead, what I'm going to do is take everything I've learned my last 4 years, yes, four. I've been doing Instagram marketing for 4 years now. So please do not compare your day one to my year four. I'm going to share everything I learned over the last 4 years and tell you exactly what I would do if I was starting over as a brand new Instagram therapist. Now, this is going to be kind of a long list. I have 9 things that I'm going to share with you here. And yes, this will take you some time to implement all of them, right? If you are doing everything on this list, it should take you maybe 5 to 10 hours a week to grow your Instagram page and to grow your private practice. Is that a lot? Yeah, sure, right? It's a lot of time, 5 to 10 hours a week. But is it worth it? 100% yes, right? 5 to 10 hours a week to generate all of the leads for your business is literally nothing. So, were there times I felt overwhelmed my first year? Often, right? It was brand new. I never done Instagram before. It was really scary. And in the beginning, I was building my Instagram page while working a full time job in nonprofit management and while seeing 10 insurance clients at a group practice. So I really did feel like strapped for time, and it felt like I didn't have an extra 5 to 10 hours a week. But I found a way because it was important to me. And eventually, I was able to quit my job, and it got so much easier to make the time to invest in Instagram. And also, you get faster with time, right? Like, you're not going to need to do all 9 things on this list at the intensity that I'm going to suggest you do them for the rest of eternity. But in the beginning, when you're starting your practice from scratch, I would really, really recommend setting aside 5 to 10 hours a week to do these things. Now, not once did I consider giving up or going backwards, even if it was hard. right? If I could go back in time and tell myself that I was going to make $250,000 that first year in private practice, well, damn, that would have been so motivating because that is definitely worth the trade off. So let's get into it. Here are the 9 things that I would really, really focus on if I was starting over as a brand new Instagram therapist. Number 1, really commit to doing this. Everybody wants instant results these days. Everybody wants just like a 6-figure overnight success story, but that doesn't happen for 99.9% of us. And the people who continue to show up, who continue to stick it out, who continue to market themselves even before they're getting all of the results are the ones who see success. So the US Bureau of Labor Statistics actually did a study this year and found that 20% of businesses fail in their first year after opening. But on the flip side of that, that means that 80% of people who open a business succeed and they keep going. So commit to giving it your all and being in that 80% no matter what. Commit to continuing to show up. Get whatever support you need to make that happen, right? Maybe it's an accountability buddy, maybe it's one of my programs or a business coach. I would love to work with you inside of our VIP community. But really, you need to do this. If you want exceptional results, if you want to have a thriving 6-figure practice and thousands of followers on Instagram, you can't be half in and half out. You can't just keep thinking, maybe one day I'll get serious about Instagram, or maybe one day I'll get serious about my private practice. You can't keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping again. You have to set your really big goals and commit to really going for them. And I really do suggest committing to going for them for an entire year because it can take some time, right? So it took me 3 months to get my first therapy client. I find a lot of therapists in my program are actually able to fill their entire caseload in 3 to 6 months, but sometimes it happens a little bit slower. Sometimes we have hurdles, right? And that's okay, but your ability to push through, to continue to show up, to get feedback, to get support, to tweak until you find a way to make it work is going to be the difference maker between you having success and you not having success. Now, the second thing I suggest doing is niching down way more than you think that you should. And I know that that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but if you are speaking to everyone in your content, your messaging is going to hit home for nobody. Nobody is going to feel seen, heard, or understood if you are trying to speak to everybody out there. Specificity is the key in all things marketing, right? The more specific you can be in what you're saying in your Instagram, in your Psychology Today, in your website, and in your networking is going to create bigger and bigger results for you, right? For instance, I could be a business coach for just about anybody. I've built a therapy practice from scratch. I have a course. I've done coaching. I've done memberships. I've done brand deals. But if I was just trying to speak to every woman out there who wanted to own a business, this podcast would suck. My Instagram content would suck, and it wouldn't be that relatable, or you wouldn't see me as the expert to help you. And so even though I have these skills to be able to help lots of business owners, this is the Business of Therapy podcast. It's the Business of Therapy Instagram. And I am speaking specifically to therapists who want to fill their caseload with clients from Instagram. That specificity is so helpful from both you as the listener's perspective and getting something out of it and knowing that this applies to you and being able to trust me. And 2, for me, it's really helpful because I'm an expert in one thing. I know the business of therapy inside and out. And I've gotten really good at helping therapists fill their caseload with clients from Instagram. So niching down and being specific is really, really, really important. I want you to try it. You can always change your mind later. When I started my therapy Instagram page, I actually thought my niche was going to be perfectionism, and I absolutely hated it. It triggered the heck out of my own perfectionism, and I had to scrap it, and I went way more into anxiety. So you can always change your mind, but it's really, really important that you at least pick something and try it. And you can also be less niche down later, right? So don't look at big accounts to see what their niche looks like, because they have a luxury that you don't. They already have trust with their audience, they already have a community, and they have built-in authority. And so they can get away with being less niche down, right? Who knows? Maybe in 10 years, when there's been, 100 Business Insider articles written about me and entrepreneur articles and all of this, maybe I will be less niche down. Maybe I'll be a business coach for helping professionals, or maybe I'll be a business coach for women or a business coach for moms. Who knows, right? But now, in this earlier season of my career, right, and having about 40,000 followers on Instagram, I'm still deciding to be hyper specific with my niche. My Sit with Kelly Instagram page is probably less niche down than yours should be. I'm talking to anxious millennial women, but I'm not like super specific in exactly what that anxious millennial woman is going through. Because I already have 90,000 followers, I can kind of just show up as myself now, and that is really cool. So later, you can niche down a little bit less. You can add in more stuff, but in the beginning, please, please, please niche down way more than you think you should. Okay, the third thing I suggest doing if you are starting your Instagram from scratch is post in your feed every day for at least 90 days. If you can do 6 months or a year, that is even better. I personally posted every single day for a year on my Sit with Kelly account, and I think that played a huge, huge, huge part in my success. Now, this is another thing that you do not need to do forever, but you definitely need to do in the beginning, because in the beginning, reach is the most important thing. You need to reach a lot of people because you are growing your following from scratch. The Instagram algorithm needs to understand who your content is for. You need to gain followers, which will help you build authority. Those followers need to trust you and like you so they can start sharing your stuff and helping you reach more people. You need practice so you can get better at creating content. And showing up consistently is really going to help you build that relationship with your community. It's going to help the people who follow you feel like they are getting a chance to know you. And that is really, really important when you are starting from scratch on Instagram. So if you're posting every single day in your feed, I suggest doing 4 or 5 reels a week. Reels are definitely the best way to reach new people. You will see if you go to your analytics once you start posting, or if you've already started posting, that you probably reach a ton more people with your reels than when you do like a graphic or a photo in your feed. And that's because the algorithm knows that people love to watch reels. And so they send reels to more and more people's feed. That's really why I suggest focusing on reels primarily and having the majority of your content being reels. If you have trouble coming up with ideas, knowing what to post, overthinking it, definitely check out the Reels membership. I plan 4 reels for you every single week. Sometimes I include a 5th one as a bonus and tell you exactly what to post. I pick out your trending sound. I give you the fill in the blank script, your filming instructions, everything. So that way you can actually go ahead and post these reels consistently without it taking up a ton of time. Now, I also suggest doing 2 or 3 carousels per week, right? And this is something that I see a lot of therapists miss. In the beginning, they find it really easy to hide behind graphics, and so they don't want to do any reels because they don't want to show up on camera. Then therapists join the Reels membership and they're like, oh dang, reels are so much easier than I thought, and I'm reaching way more people. I'm just gonna do reels. But you do need to have both. Both are very, very important. So carousels are really important because they're good. Like, while they may not reach a ton of new people, it helps the people who do find you to trust you, to know that you're an authority, to quickly like scan your page and understand what your content is about, and to decide to follow you, right? And so even though you may not go viral with carousels very often, you may not bring in a ton of new visitors to your page, they are going to help convert the thousands of people who are viewing your content from Reels into actual followers, because they get the chance to learn something from you, to see how your page is helpful, right? A lot of the times the reels can be very validating. They can be kind of funny, they can be relatable, but they're usually not that actually helpful, right? And carousels get to be helpful. And so they give people a reason to actually follow us after they discover us. The 4th thing I would really focus on is embracing a beginner's mindset. So it's really important, if you are not good at marketing, if you've never had a job in marketing, if it's never been part of your role, that you spend time admitting to yourself that you are a beginner and investing in learning how to like acquire this new skill of marketing. I'm biased, right? Obviously, I think my programs are the best. I've had results for thousands of therapists, but the Private Practice Academy bundle and the Reels membership are two really great resources to help you along this journey. If you don't want to invest in my programs, that is totally fine. You can take someone else's course that you've been eyeing. You can check out, YouTube channels on it. You can listen to podcasts like this one, go to my free trainings or my challenges, but really soak it all up in the beginning, because as a beginner, there is so much to learn. Marketing is all brand new for you. And the more that you can invest your time and your energy into learning this, the easier that it's going to be, right? So don't just assume that you know how to do this. If you are trying something and it's not working, get more support, get help, ask somebody for feedback, and it is going to get so much easier. The fifth thing I would suggest doing is collaborating twice per month. So in case you're not familiar with collabs, collabs are basically where two or more creators on Instagram can co-create a post or co-create a reel. And the same way that you tag somebody normally, you would actually invite this person as a collaborator. And once they hit accept, that same reel or post gets shown to both of your followers at the same time. It lives on both of your feeds and you both get the engagement from it. People can click into either of your accounts and it shows as if it's created from both of you. This is a really, really great way to reach more people, right? And you are reaching someone else's audience who already has trusted their community. And by collabing together, they're basically telling their community, hey, I like this person. Hey, I trust this person. Hey, this person knows what they're talking about. They're kind of giving you their stamp of approval. So it is a really great way to reach new followers who are already going to feel more connected to you and to trust you more. It also forces you to be more creative, right? Usually you have to kind of try a different style of reel or come up with a more creative idea in order to collaborate. And so that can be really fun and just kind of help you create higher quality content, because usually when you're pitching somebody to do a collab and you're planning it, you're both kind of putting more effort into your content than you might otherwise. It's a great, great, great way to network, because you're actually getting to know another therapist or dietitian or whoever in this space, right? So you're talking with them, you're planning the reel, you're coming up with the idea, maybe you're filming it together, or if you're doing it virtually, you're sending each other, the clips, maybe you're texting, maybe you're hopping on a Zoom, right? But you're actually getting to know this person in a real way and you're working together collaboratively. And that builds a lot of trust to be able to then go ahead and refer each other clients in the future. And you're experimenting. So you're getting to see what works. You're getting to try something new. It can also be really fun. So I definitely suggest collaborating twice per month. If you've never collabed before, definitely pick somebody who you've already spoken to on Instagram. So I would not suggest just like cold DMing a random person, but first spend some time maybe trying to think about who are 5 to 10 other therapists who have a similar niche to me or an adjacent niche to me. If you're trying to get clients from Instagram, I would definitely pick somebody who's licensed in the same states as you and start to engage with their content. Start to reply to their stories, start to comment on their posts. And then after you've chatted a little bit, then ask them to collab, right? Or if you've been networking, go ahead and follow up with one of those people and ask, hey, I have this idea. Would you be open to collaborating with me? I know that it feels weird, but people really love when you do this. A lot of therapists out there, are even listening to this podcast. They know that collaborating is important, but it can feel really scary to put yourself out there. And so you pitching that collab is so, so, so helpful for people. This is one of my top recommendations for therapists. I have a whole lesson on it inside of the Private Practice Academy bundle. I go through like pitch templates, ideas for collabs, everything. But it can make such a huge difference for people with both like your reach on Instagram, kind of reinvigorating if your page is kind of in a lull of dead engagement. And I think honestly, the most helpful benefit is actually like quality networking with people. Okay, number 6, engage. 15 minutes a day. Actually spend time commenting on other therapists or other helping professionals' content and replying to comments in your own community. Now, I know that people hate this. I know that it feels like annoying or maybe even like busy work or like the last thing on your to-do list, but I promise you, you have the time, right? I want you to go and check your insights. if you don't believe me, I know that you are spending more than 15 minutes a day on Instagram, passively consuming, scrolling while you're watching TV, while you're cooking dinner, maybe while you're going to the bathroom, when you're laying in bed. You are sitting there and you are scrolling. And you need to be more intentional with your time. Use that time to build community. That is why building an Instagram community is so important, because it's not just followers, it's actual relationships with real people on the other side of their phone. And so if you can spend 15 minutes a day actually commenting on other people's stuff and actually replying to your own comments and your own DMs, you're going to have such a stronger community. You're going to have more engagement. You're going to get more referrals. You're going to get more shares and comments and likes and followers. It all trickles down. The seventh thing I would suggest doing if you are starting from scratch is asking one of those therapists who you're commenting and engaging on their stuff to coffee per week. Now, this can be a virtual coffee where you're like chatting with each other on Zoom or FaceTime, or it could be in real life if you live in the same community. But networking is so important, and it is one of the best things that you can do on Instagram, right? It's fun getting to know other Instagram therapists. It's fun getting to know other therapists in private practice. It can be fun to like go grab a coffee or a drink or lunch with one of these people. And it really leads to clients. When other therapists get to actually know you and see who you are as a person, they're going to trust you so much more. They're going to like you so much more. And they're going to feel so much more confident recommending you to a potential client, right? All the time, I refer existing clients to couples therapy. My clients ask me for a recommendation for their coworker, for their friend, for their boyfriend, for their husband. I don't refer them to people I've never met before, right? I have a lot of trust with my clients, and so I want to refer them to somebody who I trust. And so I do that with people who I've networked with, who I've gotten to actually know, and I know their vibe, right? And so this is really, really, really important, especially if you're new in private practice. When I first started private practice, I knew not a single therapist in private practice. I didn't have that many therapist friends to begin with, but all of them were in community mental health or nonprofits. And so it was really, really important for me to network in order to get client referrals, to build those referral relationships. It also really helped show me what was possible, which was really helpful too. And now I have like groups of people I can talk to if I'm stuck with a client, if I have a question of like a higher level of care. All of it. It's just all so helpful. Trust me, network once per week in the beginning. The eighth thing I would suggest focusing on is getting an intro call scheduler set up. So this is key for converting your followers into actual therapy clients. Now, what do I mean by an intro call scheduler? You can do this in your electronic health record. So I use Jane, for example, as my electronic health record. This is where clients can schedule an intro call with me. They can then go ahead and I'll call them. We'll do that intro call. I'll take my notes in Jane. I send over all their intake forms, their credit card form, all of that. We meet in Jane for our telehealth sessions. I do my treatment plans, my notes. It's really like the one-stop shop for my clients. So you could do it in your electronic health record, or you could do it in another platform like Calendly, StanStore. I think are like really the two other popular ones. But you want people who are interested in working with you to be able to take the next step in that moment that is going to get them on a call with you. So a lot of therapists I see, they don't have intro call schedulers, and instead they have a contact form on their website. And that's fine, but it doesn't work very well because one, you're relying on people to enter their name, to enter their email, to type out a few sentences about why they want to work with you. They're not really sure what to say. Are they asking for a call? Are they supposed to just jump right into working with you? Should they share their availability? Do they have to like unpack what they want to work on? It's just quite complicated for them. And so a lot of people will visit that contact page and then not actually go forward with sending the email. And then the ones who do send the email, maybe they did that right after a big fight with their partner, or after having a panic attack, or after having a really hard day at work. And then you get back to them a day or two later, and that moment's kind of passed, and they're like, maybe I don't need therapy anymore. Maybe it's fine. And they don't answer you, and they never work together, right? When you have an intro call scheduler set up, it works way differently. And so instead, when people are considering working with you, they're able to click a few buttons and go ahead and schedule a call with you. And that's it. They don't have to do anything else. They don't have to remember. They don't have to talk themselves out of it. They don't have to recommit to the process again. And then you're able to get on the call with them and talk with them, understand what's going on, ask them questions, explain why you're the best person to help them, and schedule that first session. So it is really, really, really going to help you get more clients, not just from Instagram, but from anywhere if you have an intro call scheduler set up. So once you set up your intro call scheduler, I want you to share that link everywhere you can. Make sure it's in your link in bio. Make sure you're sharing it in your Instagram stories a few times a week. Make sure it's linked prominently on your website and your Psychology Today. I would at the end say, head to my website and schedule an intro call with me to get started, right? Tell people what next step to take and give them many opportunities to go ahead and click that link and schedule the intro call with you. Because if you can get people on an intro call, they should absolutely decide to work with you. And if they're not, then there's a problem in how you're marketing on the front end or how you're handling those intro calls, in which case we should definitely chat more. Now, the ninth thing I would focus on, this is the last one, is running ads on Instagram. Now, I have never ran ads on my own Sit with Kelly page, but a mastermind student of mine, Lisa, was kind of struggling to get therapy clients on her caseload. She went into private practice immediately after grad school, and she really needed a lot of clients quite quickly. And she wanted to try it, so I said, let's do it. And we experimented together, and she had some freaking crazy success. So she got 14 private pay clients from an Instagram ad in 2 months with less than 1,000 followers, and she only spent $150 a month on ads. So I'm going to repeat that back to you. She got 14 private paid clients in 2 months with less than 1,000 followers on Instagram, only spending $150 a month on ads. It was incredible. And she shared her wisdom with the rest of the mastermind group, and everyone started having all these results. So I actually brought her in to do a guest lesson inside of the Private Practice Academy bundle, and we break it all down. Exactly, we give you like a template, everything you can do. And so many therapists inside of PPA who have much smaller audiences are now seeing huge success in actually converting that audience into therapy clients. So it is a great way to get more intro calls, especially when you're first starting in the beginning. But even if you have a bigger following, I would definitely recommend doing this, following kind of the PPA way, because it just makes such a difference. It takes off some of the pressure of needing to quote unquote sell or promote your intro calls all the time because you have this ad that can help do it for you. Now, to wrap up, I want you to really stop following all of the people that make you think that you are doing something wrong if you don't have instant, easy success. Building a business is hard work, right? If everybody in the world could just have a six-figure practice, nobody would work in community mental health. Nobody would work in nonprofits, right? Every therapist would be in private practice. But it's hard sometimes to work for yourself. It's hard sometimes to learn these new things, but it is so worth it. If you are learning, if you are adjusting, if you're getting the right kind of support, it will get easier and easier every single month, right? Every single month you're in business, it is going to get easier and easier. And I promise maybe 3 months in, 6 months in, you are going to say, dang, this is so much easier than my community mental health job was. This is so much easier than when I worked at a nonprofit. This is even so much easier than when I worked at somebody else's group practice. But in the beginning, it's brand new, and so it's going to feel really hard, and it's going to take a lot of work. So let's recap the 8 things that you should focus on if you are building your Instagram from scratch. Number 1, really commit to doing this. Give it at least a year. Your entire life can change, so really commit to going all in. Number 2, niche down way more than you think you should. Number 3, post every day, especially in the beginning when you need a ton of clients and when you're building your following from scratch. Give yourself lots of opportunities to get better and to grow your following. Number 4, embrace a beginner's mindset and learn a lot. Spend time and money learning. This is huge. Number 5, collaborate with other therapists. Number 6, engage meaningfully with other therapists on Instagram. Get to know them. Number 7, take it off of Instagram and network with other therapists in real life or virtually, but do it face-to-face. Number 8, make an intro call scheduler and share that link as often as you can. And number 9, run some low-cost Instagram ads. I would love to hear what your big goals are for Instagram. Where do you want to be by the time that 2025 is wrapping up? DM me on Instagram at Business of Therapy and let me know. Claim that goal, right? Really commit to it. You can do these 9 things. You can find the 5 to 10 hours a week to really commit to this and to building a business that will change your freaking life. Okay? I will talk to you soon and cheering you on always.